Good morning, good evening, and good afternoon. It's Shirley with Spirit of Matter. And due to the Mercury retrograde, I'm going to record this um, style audio. That's what we have. So I'm going to try and do it by heart. September Astro Weather with the courtesy of astroseek.com. We are beginning this month with Uranus going retrograde, September 1, continuing to Pluto, entering Capricorn for the last time in the 220 years at last. So that's going to be big. This is September 2. September 3, we have a new moon in Virgo. September 4, we're going to have both Venus conjunct Lilith in 7 degrees Libra. And we are having Mars ingressing to Cancer. Okay. Then we proceed up this month. We're going to be having a lot of movement in the sky towards the lunar eclipse in Pisces. This is September 18. So we will be having Venus ingressing to Scorpio on September 23rd. September 26th, we're going to already have Mercury ingressing into Libra. September 22, of course, Sun ingresses into Libra. And who else did we forget? We have a Mercury conjuncting the Sun. If it's Casimir or not, I don't know, because you would need to see it in the sky. You want to check that. And that would be October 1 already. Did we forget anyone? I think that we have it. So, beginning with Uranus. Uranus going retrograde, I mentioned it in my previous video, okay, the flow vlog. You want to listen to it, and this is a good tip. When Mercury is retrograde, you talk about things or do things you already tended to. Okay, that's why it was a flowy video relative to Mercury retrograde. In general, Uranus has to do with mass media, mass hacking, divorce, astrology itself, big science, revolutions, social revolutions, Kundalini stuff, or sexual energy for those who feel Kundalini is like too cultish. I had no idea, I learned it recently. And it's going to be crossing Algol again in the coming months. So that's going to be taking another look at what we've already done with Yuan Algol. And you want to listen to my other video, to my flow vlog, for more on that. So that's Uranus retrograde, which is going to last for a couple of months, a year as it does. Then we have a very important event, Pluto ingressing into Capricorn for the very last time until November 19, where it ingresses for good to Aquarius. This is closure of things since 2008 in your Capricorn house, but now with Saturn, ruler of Capricorn, in Pisces. So anything Bolicolis, pyramids, Ponzi schemes, insurance, stocks, anything going up, climbing up the ladder, official documents, anything, certification related to medicine, drugs, isolation, imprisonment, faraway lands, artistic view, perceptions of time, the rabbit hole, okay? Everything to do with that. And algorithmically thinking, there's so, with Jupiter now in Gemini, algorithmically thinking, there's so many combinations that I can think of for this transit that is important to keep in mind. If you've been invested in the medical field, big pharma, yes, what that entails, I would not rely, okay, on that. It's like either your stocks are doing well, but somebody comes to your home and they want to inject you with stuff that's going to kill you, up they style, or you're doing very good, but the stocks, anything you put on that, it's not something you can use because they have social credit, and because you don't comply, then you cannot use the money. Okay, that makes sense, of course. So big stuff gonna come up. It's the one last time of Pluto Capricorn. Pluto is rejuvenating the pyramid. And you have to think about Pluto's rejuvenation. Pluto is compost. It's not just, oh, everything is going to fall down. No, they just rejuvenating the structure. And you put something in the trash or in the compost. Okay? You turn it around, that's the Pluto work. You mess with the gunk, with the junk and the ooh and the gooey stuff, and then it becomes something else that can actually nourish you. So how well were we doing that? Okay, and many things are going to culminate in regards to how well were we tending to the Pluto compost in our Capricorn and Pisces houses. Capricorn since 2008, and it culminates on a Pisces level. These are different areas of life for each and every one of you that deserves a video of its own. It's got a video of its own, okay? On a world level, this is the end of discussing anything it's a completion of building a one world pyramid, or the dissolution of it, okay? And so Pluto again is compost. It's going to be exposing that one world pyramid, and then it's going to send you off. Okay, now we understand that who are the cults and who are this and who are that. Now it's going to send you off to tend to that at the 20 years of Pluto Aquarius. And you want to watch my Pluto in Pisces video that I recorded in Ben Gurion Airport, because that's going to be very, very important for you to understand this transit. So remember, 19th of November, I do not recommend you to be in anything called by November 19. Those of you, even so much, I say this very clearly, even so much as if you need to end your life, is the only way for you, even so much as, yes, if accessible to you, make sure you have way accessible to you to do that before November 19. Suffice to say, I don't know how they teach astrology within the cults. I know from Masons, I can tell Masons, intelligence, Mossad, whatever, because they were my teachers in academia, yes, that was the time where French Revolution, they persecuted the Masons. They persecuted these people, and if you're in any way affiliated with that, either you manage to get out of that, if it's possible for you, or whistleblow. There are a lot of whistleblowers right now, or if you need, it's very important that you will have access. Again, I don't know how to teach the astrology from within. The people higher up the rank don't have your best interest at heart, but those who practice expandable children practice expandable people and expandable leaders, visible and invisible. So yes, this is super important, and yeah, this is something that I just cannot stress enough. It's the times we are decentralizing things. not necessarily globalizing things. There will be attempts to do globalization, but you want to also get to know the decentralization factor of Aquarius, because yes, it's just I know that most people at most professions, at most ranks, maybe they're taught some stuff that maybe they believe, maybe they don't. But if I say I learned science, I have good communication, people have good connections, I have job, I have this, I have that, all of that. Okay, if it's not Hitler's time, it is French Revolution time. Conjoining with Hitler's time, okay? So you understand where we are heading. And this is, yes, important, okay? That gone are the days that we can do as clock strikes 12 and Pluto is in Aquarius, gone are the days that we are to do things from within the structure to change the structure. Yes? Gone are the days. Maybe we can change the theories academically, maybe we can change the banking system, maybe we can change this. But if you were Mason because you were trying to change the system or from within the system, as clock strikes 12, Pluto is in Capricorn, it's your last chance to do it, and then get away before November 19, note to self, okay, because I'm also communicating with people that are in those situations, because I understand that they are the expendable children they didn't manage to kill, and that they basically are going through this perpetual war that they are expanding. So they've been living this lifestyle, and yes, but if you don't want affiliation with anything cult or anything religious as well, okay, by that time, it's important. More about this, but definitely you're going to be seeing a lot, okay, you're going to be seeing a lot. I think we already are. Yes, we saw what the symbolism, what this, what that. We already are seeing a lot, but it's important to keep in mind what bothers you. Okay, what bothers you. Okay, for the child sacrifice, for the interference in sexual energy. Okay, for the lack of willing consent. Okay, those things bother us. And you want to pay attention, because anybody that would promise to change that and say, we'll deal with the cult, with this cult, with that cult, with that cult, but they don't change for the practices, is another type of the cult. And this is something to keep in mind. Okay, China abolished all the cults, but is still practicing the cult practices of organ trade and death vans and so on. As tourists you won't see that, but the locals, that is the issue. So next up we talk about Venus conjuncting Lilith in 7th degree Libra. This is another powerful encounter. It's yes, it's not as rare as what's happening with Pluto here, but it's a very powerful encounter. The goddess of let's all get along, and the goddess of I will not be subservient even if it means I have to leave to nowhere, which is Lilith, meet. Okay, and when the two distinguished ladies meet, they have a conversation and their energies blend. So this is the last time we get to try to integrate Lilith into being supported by the court system, by the trades, being a part of the trade system, being happy in a relationship, okay, beauty standards, etiquette, okay. This is the last time we really get the chance to converse with Lilith. When Venus is conjoining that, Lilith will still be in Venus sign, but Venus is moving on to Scorpio, and that is already creating for in general, okay, when Venus is in Libra, it's the last time we get to negotiate before Venus gets into the territory of the waters, okay? So if you've been gaslighting in negotiations, if you've been doing programming in negotiations, if you've been doing this in negotiation, that in negotiation, Venus is the goddess of love and war. She knows that shit, she just doesn't practice it because she gives you a chance to be fair. Miss that chance, you miss that chance. And with Lilith in Libra, she's going to have a reminder, go Venus, go get them. No, I'm not going to go back to negotiation table. No, I'm not. Until this doesn't change, no, I'm not. They can all die, I don't care. They want to sacrifice my life. Lack of will and consent brings to ailments that cause problems in the nervous system and is eventually kill. So, yes, this is a big deal with Lilith. She doesn't agree to be subdued. She wants to be equal to you. She will be your best friend, your confidant, your this, your that. It's no surprise that even Satanic called it an inversion of what the truth is. Then number 17 is associated with Lilith. Number 7 with Lucifer, right? It's a Saturn 7 cycle, so that can be the case. And so in those myths, or Satanic myths, Lilith basically saves Lucifer, that also doesn't want to be slave, and they reign together for their own kingdom, okay? So this is kind of important to understand, that if she finds a person who respects her, even if he is Satan himself or Lucifer himself, she's like, okay, let's be buddies. Okay, at least you treat me with respect, you treat me this, you treat me that, then we can be buddies. But she will not be subdued. That's just her thing. Okay, she wants equity. And so this is important to remember. Yes, even if you get out of the cult or the Satanic cult, and you think, oh, I won't run into, now I can have women be submissive to me and this and that, and it comes to it's like, no, not here either. That the fact that I don't accept what the Luciferians made of me doesn't mean that I accept being subdued in the way that you, whatever religion you are, do. No. Okay? This is Lilith in Libra. It's about really Venusian stuff. So possessions, economy, relationships. And when Lilith, Venus in Libra is more diplomatic. Lilith in Libra will be diplomatic, but she will be diplomatic after she already done the deed. Okay? When everybody asks, what happens if we just don't pay taxes because they don't represent our rights? Lilith has not been paying taxes for ages. Okay? And she just sits there and she's like, yeah, I wonder what happens, if, yes, it's a good idea, perhaps we do try to, okay? So when people be wondering, okay, what if we don't litigate in the court system because the court system doesn't do, we go on social media and we go on this, we go on the yes, I think it's a good idea when she has a blog about, 17 episodes where she tells her story. Okay? That's Lilith in Libra. She's with you. But she already is, just in case you withdraw, she doesn't care. She stays out of this system. Okay, if come Lucifer say, why won't we kill all of them? You say, well, let's try to give her a shot. I don't know. Yes, that's what we say. Okay, so you want to make sure you don't get shot. One way is respect Lilith and willing consent, equity in relationships, and understand that this goes through all the levels, okay? But it's housing, clothing, traveling, living a good life, nourishing food, not just food, it's a Venusian sign, okay? Nourishing food, clear water, all these things that you think about running the world. She should not have a slight tiny bit less because she skipped violence. On the contrary, she should have more because she needs to rest and she needs to recover. Okay, but do you respect your own Lilith? Very big event, short term, and preparing us for the solar eclipse with Lilith in Libra in October. Okay, it's not the eclipse we have this month, it's the eclipse with Lilith in Libra in October. This one is going to be giant. Okay, there's just no way. Okay, there's just no way, because we are purging the feminine rage on the juristic system, on diplomacy, on this, on that, on that, on that, on that. Okay, so Venus is really the last time we get to have a conversation that ends up in some sort of agreement. And also people will be aware of the extent of what her opinion is. Okay, if you think women got calmed down since Me Too and they relaxed a bit, so it's like, no, now we think about this as human trafficking, satanic cult that involves the corporations and the banking and the medical system and the this and the that. And the minute you tell me to work when I need to rest, you already are sending me to the human trafficking, to the this, to the that. Okay, that is, it's like we haven't calmed down. We actually gotten deeply into the rabbit hole, and we're like, are you sure you don't have glitches from MK Ultra when you're telling me that, and so on. So that is something you want to be prepared for, because if you come to the negotiation table, you think, oh, I can subdue Lilith, I can bring her back, I can this, I can that, I can reduce a bit my abusiveness, I take some accountability. No, darling, she needs to be smelling like she drank pineapple and lychee organic from something on a mega yacht. Like, it's not really, you don't want to, she's unequitable. You can't come with gaslight more. And Venus, 23rd of September, is going to go Scorpio, where she's going to remind you that you did the Seder Fader to learn how the women did it. Okay? So if you don't like the Libra fair women that are just going to be fair with you and are going to tell you, okay, I want this, I want that, I want that, I want that. What do you want? How can we meet? Okay, in a way that we have win-win together. Okay, you try the Seder on her. You remember that the Seder, you did all of this magic you did in order to get to the feminine. Okay, so this is Venus in Scorpio. Please, okay, get your mind right, and all of that in the context of Pluto in Capricorn before it goes for good in November. Scorpio sign, okay, Scorpio soul. Remember 19th of November, okay? So, and the sun is going to be in the last decan. Okay, and I actually take a male astrologer, Austin Kaput, for the 36 phases. The last decan, last phase of Scorpio, where the sun is going to be in November 19, is actually nostalgia. Okay, look how the decan come up, because so we're going to get nostalgic about everything you did wrong, and we're going to want to fix it. And water expands upon cooling. So you better not F with Lilith now. That's something to remember. So you say, actually, what's the connection between Pluto? Well, Pluto is besties with another friend, is Sedna. Remember the Inuit goddess that nobody could accommodate for a free woman? Her father betrayed her, and this and that, because she didn't want to get raped all her life, and so on. And then she became the goddess of the sea, and if you didn't worship her, you didn't have food. That's Sedna. Ba'aden Lilith. Okay? Ba'aden Beta per se. Okay? They're going to be trining on November 19th. So, when the sun again reminds us of everything, all the wrongdoings that we ever experienced in our entire life, that we want to be corrected yesterday. Or else you won't have food. You, entire planet and galaxy. This is Sedna. So, that's something to consider. I would consider that. Now, what else do we have next? The new moon in Virgo. New moon in Virgo New moon in Virgo, well, anything in your Virgo house, any planets, or your house itself, okay, where is Virgo in your chart, has been experiencing the opposition of Neptune since 2012. Okay, so 12 o'clock from you stands a fog. Since 2012. And it can be 12 if you have Sun, Ascendant, Sun, Moon, but also if you have Venus, if you have Mars, okay, then 12 o'clock from this planet stands a fog. And a new moon is just another one of those beginnings where there is unclarity associated with it, although Virgo likes nothing more than clarity, but Virgo tends to see the trees and not the forest, and the forest is blurry right now. So you might focus even more on the trees, or you might altogether lose it, I don't know. And if that's not enough, we are on the verge of an eclipse, which targets the Virgo-Pisces axis, so you're going to have fated events happening anyway in the coming 2-3 years. That's just to keep in mind. What do you start in this full moon? Nothing important, hopefully. Okay? And be ready for a lot of fated changes to completely transform the picture. Okay? So this is something I would have to keep in mind. It's a big event, but it's not so much of it's not a fated event so much, and it's not a not fated event. You just have to deal with general themes of new moon in Virgo. Okay, so this is where people do, I don't know, colon cleansing or fasting, or read a good book, or yes, but don't commit to something even herbal or medical that is not subjected to yes, a lot of changes, as much as you can, right? It's life. But that's what I would consider. If it falls on any of the relational houses for you, okay, 5th house axis, 7th house axis, 8th house axis, or even both, yeah, what you want to keep in mind is just what I said. Whether you are in a relationship and you're like, I don't know, maybe I should separate, we should this, we should that. Let fate run its course. And again, get an astrologer before you get a divorce lawyer. We talked about this in another episode, in another context, Uranus. But if it is for committing, okay, again, make sure you have a lot of room for adjustment. It's anyway a mutable sign of refinement and editing and taking a look at things again and again. But if you look for that stability, and I don't know, it's an earth sign, so you might still look for some consistency and stability, you might find that you want to be open and ready to fated changes that are just going to take the road. Okay, so I wouldn't contract myself in something that I might not be able to fulfill at this time. So and at the same time, fated relationships can take place. Okay, this is just the time where you get separated, married, into partnership, out of partnership, fatedly in the coming 2-3 years. Okay, so I think we're pretty good and clear to begin to talk about the lunar eclipse. Oh, Mars going into Cancer. Mars is going to the sign of its fall, but it's kind of leaving Gemini, where it's fast and furious. We're gonna worry about that Mars in later this year, okay, it's October, where Mars begins to oppose Pluto at the end of Cancer, the beginning of Leo. This is where we're concerned about it. It's a fallen Mars in the sense that you're, you're walking in water. And I suggest you to do this activity of walking in water if you can, because this is going to facilitate getting fit. Just be careful not to have salt in your eyes like I had when I did it in the Dead Sea last time Mars was in Cancer. And don't argue too much with your mother. Okay? Don't take it on your mother. Yes, she wants to be, but it's good time if you need to set boundaries, okay? Um, that is just be careful. You might be overreactive. That's all. Other than that, that's just Mars into Cancer. It's a sign of its fall, because Cancer is all about the internal psychological experience of feeling safe, which this is the difference between this and Scorpio. Okay, what do I need to feel safe? Where Scorpio is constantly transforming, Cancer is more about what do I need to feel safe, how do I change my mood right now, what I need to nourish myself with, and so on, but also energetically, not just like the food and environment. And the Mars is it is the ruler of like war and aggression and self-assertion and so on. So in the best of cases, this is the time where people get out of emotional relations where the emotions are not valued. And Mars said, no, you will not gaslight me. No, you will not disrespect my emotions. This really is the best possible thing we could hope for, but it can also be the other way around. We are emotionally violent to each other because we act on Mars in that way. And it's coming from a childhood trauma of like your upbringing, like all those triggers that make it challenging and very intensive. So the safety is kind of a bit shaken. That's what I have to say about this Mars. Venus in Scorpio, I already said. Okay, it's the Venus that if you meet her in a good day, she's going to be very forgiving. If you meet her in a bad day, she's doing that magic. So there's Venus going Scorpio. Okay, it's the deep water of the well. Whatever you put in the deep water of the well is what you see when you get there. And they need rejuvenation constantly in transformation. Now we got to the eclipse. Finally. Okay? Yes, we have a Mercury conjunct Sun. This is going to update us. I think I said it, to update us on all the Mercury retrograde themes, okay, from Me Too to Olympics to why they suddenly tend to rape in jail. If you want to go to my Instagram, then you can understand that very thoroughly. And so that's just that, okay? Mercury in Leo is about open-heartedness, vulnerability. Mercury in Virgo is the tricks to get the topic covered, and more intellectually and practically than opening our hearts. But this is why the Sun Mercury Cassini in Leo is so important, because you want to listen when the heart is speaking. Later we will just begin to think about it intellectually and practically. You want to listen when the heart is speaking. What's in the heart there? Because this is the key to remediations. What's in the heart there? But you better bet that Mercury themes should be doing good with being vulnerable. Okay, if somebody's not feeling safe being vulnerable, then we get to Virgo land, where it's trickery and cunningness and sharp words thrown and storytelling and so on. So lunar eclipse, we talked about this. Just another word about this lunar eclipse in Pisces. People are going to call it, Ra is beginning to approach Neptune. People are going to call it the mass psychosis eclipse, especially the October one, but this one is also quite important. We have a new beginning on an emotional level where Pisces is at, with Jupiter in Gemini. Okay, this new beginning is carrying an emotional tone. It is bringing in something new that can be of national identity. Not saying Declaration of Independence, but it's not impossible. But there is a myth to it, okay? An emotional relation to a myth. Okay, think about the moon meeting the sign of mythical story and storytelling, magic, okay? But also all things associated with Saturn Pisces, eclipses on the Pisces axis. So we're going to see, I don't know, we're going to hear about new things. Whether it's drug cartels, whether it's spies, whether it's missing people, artists, the poets, incest, unfortunately, is associated also with Jupiter and Zeus, who's ruling Pisces, new myths, okay, that we're going to learn. This is bringing in something new. And when it's bringing in something new, it's also clearing out some emotional baggage. I wouldn't completely count on that. Now that happens with Moon 25 degrees Pisces, with my ascendant, so I'm having a big time. And then that would mean the Sun is 25 degrees Virgo. Okay, whatever you have, and we're gonna have the nodes still in 7 degrees Libra and Aries. So all of that is impacted. Whatever you have, first degree of Aries, first 10 degrees of Aries, first 10 degrees of Libra. Okay, you already had eclipses on that. So now is another one. Whatever you have in the last phase of Virgo and Pisces, this is going to be tremendously felt by you. In general, you're going to feel it because you have these signs in your chart, and they're going to incorporate where Gemini and Sag, okay, because Jupiter is in Gemini, which is the axis of Gemini and Sag, and they're going to incorporate yes, Mercury, which by then I think is still in Virgo. Yes, it's already in Virgo. Am I correct? Yeah. So Mercury is just in its own sign for this eclipse, which is good. It's still in the shade period, but it's still at least in its own sign. Just eclipse vibes. Okay, I talk in another place about this eclipse. It's just doing eclipse vibes again. So all in all, September is highly intensive. It's emotionally intensive. It is psychologically intensive. It is sexually intensive. Okay, Venus Lilith, Venus into Scorpio, okay, Sun into Libra 22nd of the month, so Sun will be making its steps towards meeting Lilith itself. You understand it's a big month. And we have also, if that's not enough, we have an eclipse. It's a lunar eclipse. It's not the eclipse we had in Aries, but things that are viral, okay, ailments, pandemic, which is also organized crime, drug cartels, and spies and intelligence to hide expendable children. And deeper down that rabbit hole, okay, if we think about the programmings that they do, like all the tales, the fairy tales, like Alice in Wonderland is also a type of programming in MK Ultra. So that is the time where the people that are not comfortable addressing that are going to be either addressing that or just become no longer relevant to the discourse, because you can't have whole villages hearing comments from okay, from intelligence that never had such experiences, and we never targeted individuals and then not talk about what it was. Thank you. So yes, I think that's pretty much the theme. We are having we're having perhaps a speaker election September 6th, where the moon is going to be conjoining Spica. Thanks, Hellas Astro, for the update on the future election. She's doing talisman, so yeah. This is for Europe and Middle East. So you want to check where is it by you. Other than that, I don't see any talismanic elections, particularly for September. Understandably so. Get prepared with your Capricorn house. Okay, one thing I can give you, the Libra is an ongoing thing. If we don't respect will and consent, regardless of gender, then there's a world war for it. I mean, that's what happened 1939, 1941, to 1945 even, and then we had women got right to vote, to have bank account, and so on. So 2 generations of men died. Okay, there's many ways to reach the goal, but essentially we are moving forward as humanity. And so it's either we do that or there are going to be a ton of crises and then we do that, which is completely useless, but it's also how humanity is ran sometimes, unfortunately. And that's an ongoing thing, okay? What I would worry more this coming months, because eclipses are going to take their toll, it's just gonna happen. Okay, it's just gonna happen, and I may have been someone eclipse this April. As an astrologer, it's kind of like you look at that, you look at the chart. Oh, they're gonna have eclipse on that so and so. Who is Jupiter? Me? Okay, what am I doing there? Oh, okay, fine. That's very interesting. So it's one of the most fascinating things. But when it comes to wrapping up the Capricorn, this is not eclipse, okay? This is get ready with your Capricorn house. Okay, Pluto's not gonna touch it for another. I don't know if you live to 220 something years from now, maybe it's gonna touch it if you Walt Disney or something. You're gonna defreeze yourself. So that maybe that happens to you, but other than that, and if it does, then even more so. Okay, prepare the Capricorn house because you're not gonna have Pluto there in a while. It's the final wrap. This is it. Whatever mountain you are climbing there, it's the final countdown. Okay? No more Pluto work there. No more shadow work there. No more getting into the nitty-gritties. No more the psychology of this house. No more the oscillations between extremes that Pluto is associated in this house as clock strikes 12 and November 19 comes. C'est la vie. Okay? So whatever you got to learn there, and it's been very intense. Okay, it's been very intense since 2008. Whatever you got there, it's pretty much the last time we're gonna do the big wealth work. Okay, because this is Pluto, the big wealth work. Pretty much the last time we're gonna do it in this house. Pluto is still in Saturn ruled. Okay, you're still gonna be able to touch it, but not like you've addressed it since 2008. So a lot of us are exhausted, and rightfully so. But I would prepare Okay, I have Capricorn in the 11th house. Okay, it's goals and dreams, but it's also um, the social circles and so on and so forth, and dredging up the whole thing. And I can say, I definitely, if I thought oscillating between extremes is something that I've already dealt with in this house, then I found myself, until you find yourself not really having anybody to talk to, because everybody, like, you're in the country that was chosen to be Nazi in this world war, and nobody really wants to talk to you but the owner of the platform. And and another, yes, very important figure, and another very important figure that was banned from the land of that very important figure. And then you find out that is connected with that is connected with that, and this is like a social circle energetically for a while. And it all started because you had nobody to talk to. And who else do you know? Yeah, the person from the other family that was the opposition to that. Like, oh, okay, fine. I really thought that I'm done with oscillating between extremes in my 11th house, being a part of a lot of like social groups on Facebook and stuff. But that was really okay until you have yes. Those things, you kind of like, what the heck is going on? Yeah. Oh, there's nobody to talk to on social media, but the top of the pyramid of the visibles, which actually respond to what you sent. Okay, and the way communication is done, and you actually get their symbols because you're an astrologer. So actually interested in what you have to say, and you see the through roundabout ways. So this is 11th house for me, and then you understand that all the expendable children that they didn't manage to kill. So surprisingly enough, also have something to say of value, which is that is yes, going from 0 to 100 in literally, okay, and through being isolated, going from one extreme to another extreme. Yeah, that's very weird, and Pluto hasn't even, okay, Pluto hasn't even. So we're all pretty much exhausted with this Capricorn. It should require a video of its own. I know people that have Capricorn in the 7th house. I don't know what they're made of by now. Like, some of them, I've heard them saying like the worst things, and I'm like, that's so terrible, but I cannot even comment on that. It's like I'm right in front of your ascendant. And I stay humble. Like, I'm probably not going to experience Pluto. I don't know, if I'll get to 80, then 80 something, then at 80, then I will have Pluto conjuncting my ascendant. But this is so I cannot even comment. Or if you have ascendant Capricorn, and I know people that have ascendant Capricorn as well, that was quite a time, and especially because Pluto can be eternal. So yeah, and I knew a person who had a stellium in Capricorn. I told you, it's my 11th house. It's also the house of friends and stuff, and colleagues and so on. But I also got family with the Sun in Capricorn, and so I knew a person with a stellium in Capricorn. Okay, the amount of grief I cannot. And eventually, when the Saturn matured, and I had to leave them, they told me I cannot anymore. If you go through one more cycle of this horrid stuff, I cannot anymore, because I'm going through this with you. And I understood exactly what they're talking about. And then The next side, and I said to them, well, I have to be honest with you, I'm an astrologer. That was the time before I went in between houses. Like, I'm gonna have all the outer planets conjuncting or squaring personal planets for the next 2 years, 2-3 years. So this is what you have been through with me. It's not even the beginning or the tip of the iceberg. It scares me. And then eventually the crisis happened, and they were targeted to hurt me, and I had to flee. So the culmination of all the grief and loss and death and sudden loss and sudden people, everything culminated with the person that was the one rock stone that was a very difficult rock stone, because I was going to the Me Too, to whatnot. Then that person had to flee suddenly, and they had to flee suddenly because you said you couldn't deal with that anymore. That was true. So this is something that I do not wish on my enemies to be my enemies. I said, and that's literally what I said a couple of days before I had to flee. I do not wish on my enemies to be my enemies. Exactly. So that was my Capricorn story. Lada Duncheva said, if you have something you've been completing by the book, and I was trying to think, what am I doing what have I been doing by the book? And I said, nothing. That's why I'm alive. But there's really nothing I've been doing by the book. That's why I'm alive, okay? But it's supposed to be like a grand reward to your efforts. So I don't know, but to follow the Kabbalah, I have no idea. So they say, the fall of the Kabbalah. This is the one I would be really considering now. If you had to pick one, for me that's the Pluto Capricorn. The lunations, again, the eclipse. The eclipse is just going to happen. Okay, it's nothing to prepare, because nothing can prepare you for this. Very common. And the new moon is kind of like, there's a new beginning, 12 o'clock from the fog. Great, what am I to do with that? Nothing. It's just Neptune. But if you're anything Virgo, Neptune is going to go away from the 12 o'clock of yours by 2026. And it's going to do that conjunct in Saturn. But up until then, if it is on your 7th and 1st, then before you go to a therapist for your relational trauma, remember that you have the sign of codependence and the world, please save me, and isolation and spies and dreamland and fantasy land in your 7th house. So before you invest all your money in guess the therapist, to get yourself an astrologer, hopefully they won't tell you to go to therapy, because that's okay. I won't tell you about the moons in Virgo when I was in there. That was the Alice in Wonderland programming. Now I understand. I didn't know it, but that was Alice. Like, oh, that was Alice in Wonderland. So that is very funny. But also, okay, anything if Virgo and or Pisces are on your relational houses, you got Venus in Virgo, Venus in Pisces, Jupiter Virgo, Jupiter Pisces, or ascendant Virgo Pisces, please, before you diagnose yourself with being a relational horror or living in La La Land or anything to do with relationships. And I have ascendant Pisces, so I can say that that's been satirical one after the other. Not me dealing with something like a Mossad agent, where I have the paradigm that I have to speak to all men and take into account that men never say anything that has a subtext. And I have a programmer in front of me that gaslights me the entire time, and it's very likely some Mossad agent that thinks that I come to extort him, and I am hoping is not trying to extort me, like to put me in relationships that I don't want and stuff like that. and and having the paradigm of like men don't have subtext to their words. That is something that's, you know, as a movie that is unforgettable to live through. That is to be a part of a mega bombing, rather than to hear about it on TV. Um, so that is some of the stories you will hear from the first and seventh house. Um, Rao in Pisces, will Rao in Pisces, it's not yet. It's the flood and the drought. It's going to go to the extreme of Pisces. In general, it's not the most down to earth love. Okay. Not the, but the polarities, when they say polarities, okay, where I have things that I can't tell you, but if I told you, you would be laughing so hard. Um, that, yeah, uh, but this is just it's just life. Who's your counterpart? Okay, um, it's just life, and it's even more movie-like with Neptune, but they can be. Just a lot of revelations when it comes to that, and understand that this is not a time to judge your relational style, nor your commitment style, not your relationship at large. Okay, allow that movie to unfold, and dream the dream. Okay, because that's the best relationship advice I can give for us, Pisces Virgo axis. But you do get to, yes, to live the dream, and this is also important. Or you can have situation where, you know, you surrender that area in your life. And if it's just at the prime of your life that it happens, then what can I say? Okay, you're not alone on this ship, or you're not alone being alone on this ship. So, so yeah, more for Virgos. So Virgo sons are going to have birthdays. Yes, it's intensive months, always kind of like a lot of new beginnings, but now it's also a lot of new endings. Okay, with Pluto ingress into Capricorn, it's the beginning of the end. But you have Spica, okay, you have Moon Spica on September 6th, so you can make some justice talismans, which again can be very blurry with Neptune. Okay, so especially Virgo suns, so I would tell you to relax, but I know that this is exactly the part that you surrender. It's the Piscean part that you can relax. It's like, oh, let's go watch a movie, and the movie has like incredible terror and violence in it. Like, why did you surprise me with that movie? I actually had an incident like that. So you have to surrender your ability to rest as well. Recently had an astral talk with someone. It's like, oh, you just woke up right now. It's like, yes, finally I'm resting. I don't get to rest. So I hope for you that you get to rest and sleep well. Set intention with Neptune, may manifest miraculously. Yes, I'm gonna set her. You might find yourself in bed with me in the astral. So yes, very weird, and nothing like you've expected. So I'll leave you with that.